This is important because as a human being, it's natural to have that instinct to want to connect with people. When I do groups, that's like always one of the main themes is there's some desire to want to connect, but you can't connect, and because we live in a mainstream society where at least 90% or more, if to connect with them, you'd have to connect to some nonsense, some sense pleasure type talk, and you just kind of over it. So there's this feeling to want to connect. Therefore, a lot of times we compromise because of the instinct to want to connect, and then we get around people because we don't want to sit, by ourselves forever, and then we start to compromise, and then we lose energy. You feel it after you leave. You somehow feel like, I'm drained. Like, what the hell happened? So let's talk about that, because there's a light in you that you need to protect. It's a sacred light. You shouldn't just throw it away carelessly. Even if you're sharing, dropping spiritual science and think you're helping people, a lot of times, man, they don't want your help. They don't care. They don't. They just want to talk because they're also lonely. And so then you feed into that, because especially some people are really good listeners. Females are good listeners, more than guys, generally speaking, or at least they can pretend to be. And they'll listen, and you're talking about things you feel are important, and then later you leave drained. I met a girl. There was a girl I would hang with. She was from Iran when I was living in Ecuador, and so it was an interesting relationship. We were talking, she was telling me about Iran. She's not really authentic Muslim, but enough she knows about it. So, and she has some spiritual sanskar, openness, and so we were talking and stuff. And at first I thought she would really look like she's like listening, and so I felt like, okay, this is cool. There's some exchange. I'm sharing something. It looks like it's landing, and so when something lands, you get some energy back. I was thinking it was landing, but really I was just hoping it was landing. It wasn't really landing. How do I know? Because 10 minutes or the next day after I said what I said, she would either ask the same question again or say something in a way that it made me realize everything we talked about yesterday is gone. I'm like, what happened? Do you remember anything we shared yesterday? And so I bring this up because this is a good example of, like, you can say casting pearls to swine, or leaking your light, leaking your energy for no reason. I have a good story. Now let's flip it. Okay, I'll play the part of the one that was trying to take energy. I was with my Indian teacher in India. We were in a little village, and me and the house cleaner, did a little something, And so then I was worried. It was a mental worry though, and I was telling him the next day. I said, I don't know. I hope I didn't get her pregnant. I knew I didn't, because I didn't release. But still, the mind, well, maybe something happened, maybe. And so I wanted him to somehow eradicate this senseless worry and fear. And man, he flipped that on me. This guy was super fiery, excessively fiery. That's what ended the relationship later. But it was a very he's definitely one of my teachers. I have to give him credit for sure. It was 5 or 6, 7 years and he taught me a lot and introduced me to a lot of things, and it was good. It was worth it. So he told me, he says, I hope you did get her pregnant, man. He says you should. Then you'll learn. He said, why? What did you guys have some tantric, deep exchange of spirituality? I'm like, no. He says, yeah. What are you doing? Why did you do something so stupid? He was talking pretty hard on me. He says, you're bringing me this shit. You want me to eat your shit and make you feel better? He says, no, you eat your own shit. I got that though. I got it. That's why I remember it. So that can be happening with you and other people to a degree. I'm bringing this up so there can be some awareness. You have to catch that when it happens. How do you feel when you're connecting with who you're talking to? Is there like some kind of, spiritual angst or tiredness or something? How does it feel afterwards? You feel drained? Pay attention to that. I mean, we have the signs and symptoms. It's just like, are we going to listen to it? Or are we going to let our instinct to want to connect, override like what our inner sanction is telling us? That's our fault. We have to pay the price then. Okay, keep doing it and keep suffering. Then there's all the justification, spiritual rationalization, They'll say like, well, I'm a spiritual person, so like, I don't want to, like, I shouldn't be selfish. They're asking for help, and it's deep justification, man. They don't want to accept and just admit, like, look, I shouldn't be talking to this person, period. They're worried about, like people pleasing, and or they like the spiritual flattery. Some people are really good at giving you that. Wow. I've had people do that with me. Yeah, I guess in the past, I bit at first. It's like, oh yeah, but then now, especially now, it makes me want to like leave immediately if they start praising me too much. I mean, you can just feel it, even if they believe it. Doesn't matter. You can feel it. It's the mind doing it. You want to talk to somebody who, number one, wants to talk to you. And then number two, can on some level digest or have the openness to actually listen to what you have to say. When that relationship is there, that's nice. That's a spiritual relationship. Then you'll be giving each other energy. It's like you're tapping into their God energy, they're tapping into your God energy. You're using each other to like extract God energy from. That's cool. That you can do. I wrote some things, and I want to, because this is an important topic. I can't see what I wrote. Okay. This is where it gets confusing, though. This is why I'm all about subtle. You see why I talk about subtle introspection and analysis? Because like, you just have to have it. You have to have it because the mind, man, is right there. Anything you can say spirit tells you, the mind is, it can come up, it can equally almost match that in a spiritual, justified, rationalized way. You have to catch this stuff. How are you going to catch this stuff if you're so busy all the time in Maya, in delusion? I got to do this and this and that. You can't catch anything. I used to not understand why I couldn't have deep conversations. My friend told me a long time ago, he says, bro, look how much time you spent with your own self doing this analysis. Of course, like you're going to, because I didn't party. I quit getting high when I was 15. I skipped all the party years. I was just with myself contemplating things. So of course how can you compare that to somebody who has done no contemplation at all? Or just read books, listened to videos, and now they're just parroting what they heard. There's no comparison. So then that made sense. Didn't really make me feel better. I was actually like, damn, what am I going to do? But you can find people. God will send you people. What was I starting to talk about? Oh, so another justification, though, that the mind can come up with that can seem spiritual is, but you're treating, that's not spiritual. They're asking for help. You're supposed to help them. You're supposed to like help them. You're turning them away. You're turning away from them. That's not what Buddha would do, or Jesus, or Krishna, or Muhammad, or Shiva, Shakti. You see? Yeah, they would. I guarantee they would. There's Babas that would go see The Peaceful Warrior. I've mentioned that before, but Nick Nolte was, he played the role of the mentor. High level guy, high level. And he didn't want anybody coming to him. He don't want disciples. He don't want students. He already knows they're not going to know what he's talking about anyway. So this kid, because it was destiny, was trying to, I forgot who told him about him, but somebody told him about him. And so the kid wanted to go see him for some answers, because Nick Nolte was known as a very high level spiritual recluse. So the kid found his cabin out in the woods, and he was going to knock on his door. He didn't even make it 100 feet. And Nick Nolte starts throwing rocks out the window and cussing at him and doing, The kid's like, oh, he's not spiritual at first, See, that's where do they get the idea from the movie? That's what some do. That's what some do. Why? Because they don't want to deal with that. And here's the other thing. They know if it's really destiny, the rocks aren't going to bother him. The words aren't going to bother him. I feel Osho did this to a degree, because he would just mess around all the time. He loved contradiction, and he purposely did it because he didn't care. He knew those true disciples wouldn't be wavered by that. And so then in the movie, the kid and Nick Nolte ended up doing some work together, because he passed through those tests. So that's kind of a long-winded explanation because I was sharing on the point about how the mind can use different forms of spiritual justification to try to get you from taking care of your light. You have to take care of your light. Nobody else is going to take care of it. These people, they just want to eat your light. Most people, they're not interested in transcendence or overcoming their lower nature. They don't want that. They want energy. They want your energy. They want to eat your aura. They feel somehow blessed by your field, and so they want to be in that field. And then you end up leaving sucked dry, and they got the energy. But then guess what? They're going to come back tomorrow and do the same thing again, because they didn't download anything. They don't want to change. They just want, just like I did with my teacher in India. Let me share this story about how I did this stupid, these things, and I just want you to just make me feel better. he wasn't having that. It's like, no, you have to learn from this. He gave me some bitter medicine, and I did learn. That's why I'm sharing about it. So most people, that's what they're doing. They're just trying to suck you dry. And I've discovered no amount of money can buffer that. I know from doing private sessions, if I have somebody like that, I don't care how much they're giving me, it's still, I don't want to do it. I can't do it. It's like a compromise. I'm going against my own internal code of honor. I can't do it. So you recognize when that's the case, and then don't do it. And don't let your mind try to guilt trip you. Oh, I'm not being. So, see, identify what your character defect is. Are you a people pleaser by nature, or are you more? Are you the opposite of a people pleaser? You like to disturb people. Me and Osho and Naja Sagata also, and some other beings, we're more, everybody's on one side or the other, even if it's on subtle level. It's the play of character. We're one or the other. I'm the opposite of people pleaser, but a lot of people who have the strong people pleasing tendency, they have trouble with this. They have trouble walking away from conversations or invites, that's not going to lead to anything except getting drained. There was a girl in LA, she wrote finally on her WhatsApp. I saw it when I was responding to her message. She said, please, nobody ask me for help. She wrote it on the, whatever. She's tired of it. Can't do it anymore. You take care of your energy. Let God send you the people that you're supposed to work with. Don't use your mind to calculate, things. Oh, but this is nice, or this is spiritual. There's no nice or spiritual. There's living authentic in the moment. That's it. This is the highest spiritual thing. You live authentic in the moment. When you're at a certain stage, you don't need any more rules and regulations and commandments, and you don't need any of that, because you know that it's actually, on the deepest level, it's worthless. It's all about right now how to get in touch with your inner sanction. This is the best, highest gift that any teacher or anybody can give to somebody else, is to encourage that. You can't give it to them. You can't like go in and unlock their intuition, but to keep encouraging them to get in touch with this, your own inner guidance. A real teacher doesn't want you to have a false dependence on them forever. It's like who wants to carry all that? Those who want money, who have ego, and they need to get a hit from people revering them, yeah, they want that. They'll just give you a little bit here and then have you come back and give you a little more, stroke your ego, make you feel good, so then you make them feel good. We're living in a society that's not too authentic, although they don't know they're not authentic. That's the most dangerous kind of inauthenticity, is when you don't know it. You actually think you're being authentic. I'm very spiritual. A lot of spiritual diplomacy too. They talk it, but man, it's so hollow, you know? I've said before, I'd rather hang out with the bank robber who just admits, this is what I do, man. I don't know, like, I can't help it. It's what I do. I'd rather hang out with them than the spiritual foo-foos. So, in ending, protect your light, protect your energy. We have limited energy in this human form. It's all about energy management. Conserve your energy. I've listed on the Transcending Shadows channel, I have videos that talk about, all the different ways to conserve your energy. You preserve your sexual energy in good company, in good environment, good diet, and have a spiritual practice, yeah. But also add in, don't waste your time engaging in conversations and situations where you've learned from the past. It's just going to suck your energy. It's like insanity. 12-step defines insanity as doing the same things over and over again, but expecting a different result. I think that's a pretty good definition. All right, I'm out. I'll see you guys.